Flying Casuals brought to you by Patreon supporters Brent, Kelly Breckner, Jory Webb, Wes Anderson, David Bush, and Nate Edison. May the Force be with you.
You're listening to Flying Casual, a Star Wars podcast. Here's your host, Michael Canterbury.
Casual fam, welcome to Chopper Base.
Chopper Base?
Well, we haven't actually decided on a name yet. I just kind of went with that.
Chewie Base?
Well, that's cute, but it's not.
I'm sorry. Is Chewie not Star Wars?
It's Star Wars, but it isn't Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not an actual base. Unless there's something out there in the expanded universe that I'm not familiar with.
How do you think the Rebels actually named their bases?
I don't know. They drew straws. I don't know, actually.
So why couldn't there be a Chewie base?
There may be a Chewie base. There may be a Corona base.
But we're making our own base, so we should be able to name it.
We'll put a poll out. That's a good idea, right? I'm not great at polls, but we'll put a poll out and we'll see what the people want.
Put it in the Facebook group.
It could be though. Well, the text messages are coming through, and of course, it doesn't fail, guys. My mom calls or texts every episode. She, bless her heart, she just doesn't understand that I'm podcasting, and that's okay. Mom, enough with the text messages. So we'll just leave that silent there. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But Holly, we'll put the poll out for everyone to choose the base. I think that's a great idea.
Let's do it.
Luke, is that a good idea? I mean, is that a good idea? Do you have any suggestions for the poll?
I don't know. I'm just getting a little hungry when you say chewy base. It sounds like you're cooking up a sauce or something. You get your chewy base going, and then you add some
a little chopper base,
some butter and some seasoning.
Oh, gosh.
Good to go.
Making a little stir fry.
Ooh, we just had a slight stir fry.
That's slight stir fry.
And it takes me to my next topic of conversation here. Let's feed into the banter a little more.
Feed into
the banter. The coronavirus, going around is a very serious topic, guys, and I don't want to poke too much fun at it, but we got a quarantine going on right now in the new base, somewhat. I don't think we can stay here forever, Holly, but we've stayed in quite a bit this weekend. Luke is calling via Skype because his wife is in the healthcare field and they have small children, and we don't want to put them at risk. So we thought a Skype call would be best. So we're doing our part, Casual Fam, to contain this virus as best as possible. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I hope y'all got out and got supplies. And I hope you went before we did, which was tonight, Sunday night. That was a little late, wasn't it, Holly?
Yeah, don't do that.
I mean, if you want to make spaghetti this week, I mean, it's going to be a $15 meal because you're getting the Rouse, $11.99 pizza or pasta sauce, or
it's a spaghetti that's made out of spinach, which apparently people don't want. I don't know why.
It's actually funny. You kind of see the things that really don't sell so hot,
which we realize were things that we buy frequently.
Sometimes, yeah.
But I'll tell you,
not the Rouse though. I'll say that.
I don't know what that is, but
it's that spaghetti sauce that we saw that's like great for it remember it had the really low sodium in it.
Comes in a pouch.
No, I've never seen sauce that comes in a pouch. That was a different grocery trip. I don't know where you were.
It must have been a Whole Foods.
Luke, have you seen spaghetti sauce in a pouch? I'm not familiar. Maybe they've done, with spaghetti sauce like they did with milk in the school systems, and it's now in a pouch and you can punch a straw through it.
Yeah, punch that straw right through there and bring it up.
Gosh, does anyone else? How did your school up in Maine? I feel like they probably put them in some cardboard box.
We definitely had little cardboard boxes.
Yeah,
but it was a little milk.
Yeah,
and it was made by this company called Oakhurst. Oh. And the kids' milk had this little acorn. His name was Okie. You could join his fan club.
Oh, and all those lactose intolerant kids were like, "Okay, you bastard."
Well, one of my friends.
Great dairy memories.
I don't drink milk, so I
That's right,
distinctly
yeah.
remember all the milk I didn't drink, apparently.
That's right. Yeah. Easy on the milk, Holly. Luke, did you have the pouch bags of milk in your school?
Yeah, I remember the transition being kind of jarring. I went from a school that didn't have them. They had the boxes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, these bags.
Yeah. They showed up.
It was very shocking. I was like, what is that? You used to have the kids who didn't put the straw through them, and they would just kind of chew the corner off.
What?
And suck it down.
Animals?
Did you ever see that?
No, I never saw that.
Sorry, but they would just like gnaw on it and it would open.
Bleeds out like a slow drip.
I mean, you gotta be careful with that thing once you do that. I mean, it's kind of like you gotta chug it and then done.
I felt like that should have been something that they informed our folks about. I don't think there was any announcement. I think it's just like, we're going to plastic. And it slowly leached into all of our, milk over the years.
I'll be damned if my parents ever let me drink a beverage from a plastic bag.
It's just, yeah.
I don't think they would.
Wait. No. You're drinking a beverage from a plastic bag right now.
Let me be clear.
A box of wine.
My mom was not around then, so she came later. So she would probably support a beverage from a bag.
Oh, yeah. No, I love that you just made that statement, yet you're working on a 3-liter bag and a box of wine, which is great. I mean, this is what the coronavirus has done to a lot of us, You're drinking that's been happening for a while, which means you've been preparing for a while. You always need 3 liters of wine on standby at all times. You're a prepper at this point.
We had to stock up.
We had to stock up. We have a 24-pack of Michelob Ultra. This will last me till the next pandemic. Not this can.
Ultra.
One can.
I mean, that is 95 calories. You can't beat that, guys. You can't. During these times where we're secluded to our homes and confined within these 4 walls, you can't be drinking those heavy craft beers. Am I right? I mean, I would. You can't.
Well, now they're all shut down. You definitely can't.
Have fun going to a local bar or anything here in Ohio, because as of 9 p.m. tonight, eating in anywhere or enjoying a beverage anywhere is now closed indefinitely, right?
And forever.
Well, I mean, until the governor says get back at it. So we luckily our neighbor is a employed at the Budweiser plant here in town and hooked us up, thank God, because just in time for the shutdown. So we're gonna be doing just okay. And I don't know how many. You got a couple liters still in that box?
Yeah.
We should have got another one at the grocery store today.
Always buy in bulk. The lesson that we've learned: always buy in bulk,
especially wine. Luke, is the Elder House doing any preparation? Are you still drinking those heavy craft brews? The main question I have to say: can I borrow a roll of toilet paper?
Oh yeah, I got a few to spare. Actually, stocked up on that a bit ago, but
you know what?
Pre-virus. But I'm still drinking the same style of beer. I haven't
gone that far, huh?
Haven't rationed or gone down a few pegs on that.
You know what I was actually fearing, Holly, because Luke told me the other day that he just had, he got a 50 roll of TP just conveniently. Like he does bulk. It wasn't a prepper situation unless there's a side of Luke I don't know.
Who knows?
But I was afraid that we were going to call him up on Skype, and he maybe had just toilet papered his own den to just be like, "Look at me, world. I'm okay. I'm doing okay."
And then he has blue milk in a bag, just hanging out.
Selling that toilet paper on the black market.
Seriously, man, just take that to work tomorrow and just pull it out of your coat. Hey, man. You know, see what I got, man? You just open that.
Your kids want some toilet paper.
Yeah, seriously. God, I will say we did make a Target run this weekend, and no toilet paper, unfortunately, but there was a 4-pack of tissues, and I thought, you know what, desperate times, the worst it's going to be is it's going to be a really nice soft wipe, because it was the lotion-filled Kleenexes. So
Michael swooped in and grab that one.
Yeah, swooping, swiping, wiping, phrasing, however it happened. So we hope. I mean, I hope things calm down after a bit, because it was being in the apocalypse, wasn't it, Holly? It was people were running around like just grabbing crap.
It was
It was
terrifying.
chaos.
The entire organic food section of
Oh,
Kroger was sold
completely,
out.
yeah, which
wiped out.
then something's up because it usually is fully stocked.
It was very disappointing. I need my avocados.
Well, yeah, it's dark times, guys, and I hope you all are doing your best to try to help contain this, and that you're doing okay, and that you maybe stay away from your loved ones as best as you can to try to contain this thing. And
If you have a fever, don't go to work.
yeah, don't go to work. That's what we're telling all of our staff, and you should definitely follow the advice of the professionals that are kind of running the ship right now, and just seek the advice of the CDC, and just stay home, work from home if you can, wash your hands,
Listen to Flying Casual.
I mean, that's why we're
fine.
doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's we want to be there to provide any entertainment, during these stressful times if we can. So hopefully we're doing that for you. And maybe we'll talk a little about Star Wars along the way. But I like to think of us sometimes, Holly, as an informational podcast.
And then we'll sprinkle the Star Wars in.
Sprinkle, yeah, because I mean, Star Wars is, let me just come out and say I haven't watched the latest episode of the Clone Wars, so I don't have a lot to talk about with Star Wars. But we told you guys we were going to do that. But this was a very busy weekend for us. We are in the new studio. The new studio is not complete, far from it, Holly. Right?
That's right.
There's a giant sectional couch in here that I'm realizing is way too big for the space, and it's a little tight in here. So we're going to downsize some stuff and keep working on that. So it was a busy week for us. This loft was impossible to walk through.
It was like a
days
hoarder
ago.
situation.
It was.
It was just like a wall of furniture.
It was. Yeah, the moving guys, I think, were a little worried. Or moving guys, the carpet guys, when they came in, I think they were questioning. I had to disclose, we just moved in. Like, this isn't how we live.
Or is it?
There's usually not 3 mattresses in my bathroom.
Well, for a minute, they were just about to stay there because
Yes,
I wasn't moving them.
That's true. So there was a very long weekend for us. A new carpet in the bedrooms. It's great. I put my face on it. It was awesome.
Phrasing.
Seriously. So it was. We were busy this weekend, and I didn't have much time to watch the Clone Wars. And either did Holly, but I know Luke did, and he's not going to spoil it for us just yet. We're going to talk about that 4-episode arc that we promised. So we will get to that as soon as possible, guys. But Holly, we did, Brett posted a really fun poll in the Facebook group this weekend. And I'm sure it's going to start up some conversation, but if you wouldn't mind, Brent put together all of the top 3 characters.
Yes.
Or at least favorite characters. I don't want to say top because that sounds definitive, like released by Star Wars or something. It's not. Our favorite, the Flying
groups,
Casuals,
yeah.
Favorite fans, and he sent us an email with those results. You mind reading that?
I would like to preface this with the 3 favorites
are not yours.
Well, one of them is.
Ooh,
but
okay.
these are all tied for the top spot. So it was a 3-way tie.
We got that wrong last time. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Brent writes in, "Hello there, Michael, Holly, Luke, and the rest of the Flying Casual family.
Come on.
The poll results for the Flying Casual family favorite Star Wars character are in.
Let's go.
This week, we have another 3-way tie. Tied for the top spot with 4 votes each
Let's go.
is... I wish you had a drum roll on one of these.
Oh my God!
little
I know.
buttons.
Me too.
Okay.
That was actually pretty good.
Thank you. Luke Skywalker.
I mean, he's my favorite too. That one of those votes are mine.
I think one of those was yours.
Yeah, they were. Who's the next one?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's a big one too. I'll give him quiet down. He's okay.
Well, I would put Obi-Wan above Luke,
Ooh,
but
wow.
we're not
words.
We're not.
Remember, we're
ranking them.
quarantined. You're stuck with me.
Ahsoka Tano.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Personally, I voted for Ahsoka.
It's very topical too. You voted for Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like it.
okay.
I'm a fan.
I do have some breaking news.
Oh God, work is canceled, Luke.
Let the man speak.
Sorry, buddy. Got excited.
No, it's not that. I didn't know about the poll
Okay.
until we were talking before recording, and like 10 minutes before we started recording, I went and voted, and
Oh,
My God.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is now alone at the top.
Wow.
holy smokes.
I don't know. Do I have a? I don't have a boo for that. But he's a great character.
Why would you boo him?
I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. I
Don't
think he's
you
one of the. He's just.
ever.
He's. I don't know. I love Obi-Wan. He's a very close second for me. But you know, here's the thing. I think this streaming service with his show, I really hope it continues, and they finish filming. It has the potential to really dig into him even more, and he could become my favorite. Because I'm looking to see, I loved Luke Skywalker before The Last Jedi, but I love him so much more now because of it, because of that depth, because of that, the trials that he went through. And I mean, yeah, he faced his own trials before, but like, I mean, having known what he knew and he still continues to learn, I'm looking for that in Obi-Wan, and I hope we get it. So, Luke, tell me why. Why Obi-Wan?
Well, I think a lot of it comes to my prequel love, and the relationship between him and Anakin is like really the heart of one of my top movies in Revenge of the Sith, and just how I think how well Ewan portrays the betrayal of Anakin and how difficult it is for him. Put it really, really high up there. And then he's the one in A New Hope who sets the whole stage for the entire universe, the entire story universe of Star Wars. He gives us all the lore and the backstory. So when I was in 4th grade and had that garage sale VHS we've talked about, and watching that over and over again, he was sort of the portal in to the universe in the way that he described the backstory and everything. So I think that makes it have a special sort of place in my memory, in my evaluation of the character. So I think those are the two main things that jump out at me when I first, had to put something down on the poll.
I like that he's what brought us into that mystical side, and it was somewhat vague though, and it's, the Force itself still is fairly vague, but just the way Alec Guinness explains it, and I don't know, it just, I think it captivated a lot of us, saying, wait, this mystical power, and it just made, I think, a lot of us even want to learn more. And it's so funny that all these years later, even the sequel trilogy did a great job of saying, okay, exactly what is it? But it's just, I don't know. And a lot of that is to Alec Guinness's credit. But what Lucasfilm and their casting did such a great job. I mean, I look at Obi-Wan, I look at his mannerisms and even just his face, and you can see him growing into Alec Guinness. You just can. So that was a great casting job on their part, and that sense of that wise, character that Alec Guinness portrayed. I thought Ewan did a great job of just showing us the junior version of that, but ultimately I think he's fully capable of really embracing that Alec Guinness side, and I think we're going to get that. So that it's a great call. I just think I cannot wait to learn more about him and the trials he's going to face in seclusion, and what that's going to mean for him. How is it going to change him? He was a somewhat optimistic character and a rigid character, let's be honest, with the Force and with Anakin. Though we know, him and Satine, there's a little love interest there.
Hello.
But, how does he evolve in isolation? We're going to see his training. There's so much depth there, I think. That could be very similar to my experience with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. So I cannot wait to learn a little more about him. It's going to be fantastic. Now, Holly, the Ahsoka, I mean, she changed Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So what about her is so compelling?
I just think that it's really cool to have that female representation of these women who are fierce and powerful, and it's a different kind of power.
Yeah.
I feel like she is physically strong And she is also mentally and emotionally capable, which I
Absolutely.
think is a good, well-rounded female character. And I just feel like we see a lot of development with her. I think she became very loved very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that also she kind of represents a lot of different women. And so to me, I think that's especially important because Star Wars is so important for young women, older women, men, boys. It's just like, I think that everyone can kind of feel a little bit of Ahsoka in themselves. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, there was obviously a foundation of some strong female characters in Star Wars, but Ahsoka changed Star Wars. She changed it forever. And to me, she kind of broke the gender wall in Star Wars for me because, like you said, she is so loved by everyone. And a lot of that is like you said, we see qualities in all of us from her trials, what she's up against, her strength. She was dealing with, one of the greatest Jedi of all time, Anakin Skywalker, and found a way to really, challenge him and force him to grow. And so you see a little bit of Ahsoka in all of us, and it's just, it even, was so much so when we were at Celebration, and a lot of the credit is due to Dave Filoni for sure, but Ashley Eckstein and the way she's taken this character in the show and made it something great, but outside of the show, what she's done for herself and her business in that character and made it a symbol for good. Mm-hmm. I just remember going and we wanted to go get her Tano shirt and meet her and all. And all of it was sold out and she was overwhelmed with people. A lot of that is credited to her as well. So to me, she breaks down all the gender wall and in Star Wars, at least. Obviously there's leaps and bounds we need to go to get, the women the acknowledgement they deserve in our world. But what a great opportunity for that character and to change. 2008 changed Star Wars. It just did. And she faced her battles, the Ahsoka herself in the show, but also as a character in Star Wars. I remember going 2008 to see the movie. It wasn't great. Her character wasn't great. And it speaks to Dave Filoni saying, trust me on this. You're going to love her. I know where this is. They stuck with it so much now when someone doesn't like a character, or even Star Wars now, someone says, I can't believe you did this. Or, there's this whole divide in Star Wars. Disney listened. They made changes. Things went a little differently because of the, fans, because of hate, because of things people were saying. That happened in 2008, but Dave Filoni had a vision and he stuck with it. Luke, am I wrong? To you, what is Ahsoka? How has she affected Star Wars?
I think you're spot on with talking about where she started in the initial reaction by so many people, but the place that the character started out in was definitely intentional.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, Filoni and George Lucas knew it was going to take time for everyone to grow with the character, because you're meeting the character at such a young age, younger than any of our other main protagonists. Well, I'm sorry, except for Anakin.
Yeah.
But I think in that way they liked to have her be a foil to Anakin, because she's the only other character you meet at such a young age who's such a big force. And I think you're meant not to think very much of her at the beginning, because she doesn't think that much of herself.
Great point. Yeah.
She's unsure of what she's capable of through that initial movie and then into the beginning of the series. And that's part of the draw of her character that drew everyone in, I think, is to see where she ended up. And she ends up as one of the most sort of confident and independent characters around when you look at what she ultimately does in terms of her relationship to the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
And how she then becomes basically a leader of the rebellion.
Yeah.
And who knows what else is in store for her ever evolving story. So yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah, and she's one of those characters that we jump around in time with her so much too. We see so much Ahsoka in her history, and we're now getting into the novels with her, and it's just now we're back in the Clone Wars with her. It's crazy that we're getting so much time with her, and that just speaks to how much people love her. And I love what you're saying, that like it was intentional. She didn't even know who she was, and she was growing into herself. It's just, she's such a freaking awesome character. So it's rightfully so. I agree with every single submission. And there was a lot of characters on there. There's a lot of other votes.
Do you guys want to hear the runner-up?
Oh, yeah, I'm really sorry. I jumped the gun.
I know,
really
Michael is
sorry.
like, just moving on.
I know. Let's
Okay,
hear who they are.
let me tell you guys the honorable mentions. We had...
Dex.
No.
Sorry, Luke.
Sorry, Luke. You want to...
Yeah, sorry. Keep going.
I mean, do you want to guess? Because that could be a game. Who do you think?
I feel like Anakin had to be up there.
No.
Ooh,
But
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader
For sure,
was.
for
But
sure, yeah.
but that's interesting, isn't it?
It is
Darth
interesting.
Vader was on there, but not Anakin.
I'm a little surprised by that.
And they're two, I mean, ultimately, like when you think about it, I mean, you can consider those two very different characters.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
interesting.
Absolutely.
Darth Vader. Han Solo.
Very surprising. It's funny when you mention those three characters, like absolutely, and then I'm like, yeah, why the hell is it Han Solo up there? I have no idea. I love it.
Leia.
Yeah, another.
Kylo Ren.
Also a solid pick.
Count Dooku.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
sure.
Count
Rey.
Dooku. I feel like Count Dooku. I mean, Rey for me. Yeah, Rey is absolutely up there. But Count Dooku is a surprising pick. But there's also, I feel like there's a lot of depth there that we haven't even tapped into with Count Dooku. Count Dooku was a master, and he left the Jedi Order. And what I know I'm going back to Ahsoka here, but something else about Ahsoka is that I feel like Ahsoka she saw what was coming. She knew exactly what the Jedi's wrongdoings were, and they were not going down a path that she agreed with. She was ahead of the game,
And ultimately,
Count
what
Dooku was too.
fate was going to be.
Yeah. So Dooku is we just don't get enough time with him in the films, to be honest. But I mean, hey, when Palpatine's going through apprentice after apprentice, I mean, like, what do you expect? But yeah. So what are other honorable mentions?
Cassian Andor.
Cannot wait
For the new show.
for this show.
I know.
It has such great potential, and Cassian Andor was not my favorite part of Rogue One to begin with, but now he's a really strong character in there, and I realize that and accept that.
There's a
and
lot there.
There's a lot there, and it's, oh my God, when he's telling Jin, like, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. You're not the only one who lost everything. It just breaks me. It breaks me. So I'm really excited to get more time with Cassian. Oh, isn't Disney Plus great? Goodness.
I know. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And then I guess we won't get to binge it, but
That's okay. Not like Love is Blind, which was a binge this weekend.
Oh, boy.
Jesus. Luke, have you heard about Love is Blind? Do I need to summarize it
I've
for
heard
you?
a little bit about it. Yeah, I've
Jesus.
watch
seen
it.
I was hooked. So okay, folks. I'm gonna share a secret. Okay, I don't know if I've shared this before on the podcast or not, but I have a very, very small interest and a soft spot for The Bachelor, the television show on ABC. It's just really terrible television, and I find it fascinating. And most of it's because there's these 20-something beautiful, intelligent, folks who have great jobs are like, I'm never going to find love. It's like, are you freaking nuts? Like, it's just fascinating to me. These people would go and do such a thing. It just blows my mind, and I find it fascinating. Now, granted, I haven't watched it for years, but we watched the finale of the last one, and guess who had a great time? Ms. Holly Walton herself. She dissed the show for years and years and years, and then sat down and watched it, and she said, why do I like this so much? And I said, great question, Holly. I ask myself that every time I watch it.
I couldn't stop watching it.
Couldn't stop it.
It was really bad.
It was really bad and great, though, right?
But then I'm like,
Yeah.
I need more
Yes.
terrible drama.
Yes. Yeah. Come on.
So I'm like flipping through Netflix, and I've seen people like posting online
Oh,
about
yeah.
Love is Blind.
Is
and
it?
I was like,
Is
apparently,
Love Blind?
I don't know.
It's still up for debate.
So I saw it on Netflix, and I was like, Michael, check this out.
Yeah.
I think we watched it for like 4 hours.
Oh, yeah, no joke. And I didn't want to turn it off. But my eyes got to a point where I hadn't blinked, and I was so tired. My contacts just like suction cupped to my eyeballs, and I blacked out on the couch. And I wasn't intending to fall asleep during it because I was loving every second of it.
Okay. So, concept.
Luke, you listen close because I'm going to tell you this is must-watch TV. Go ahead.
These people have never seen each other. They've never spoken to each other. They do like a speed dating trial through the wall.
So like speaking to each other through this wall, and they don't see each other. Then these little
Can't see
pods,
each other.
right? Yeah.
So they build this relationship,
In a few days.
right? Just by speaking to each other
Great concept.
without seeing each other.
Yeah.
And then they have to decide if they want to get married.
Yeah. Are you going to propose to this lady after 3 days of talking to her? And there's people who did it.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, but there's like a dozen of them, right? There's 6 couples or something like that, right?
Yeah, there could be, or maybe there's not.
Or maybe there's more. Who knows? But
Okay.
these people propose to each other,
And they didn't even know each other.
and some of them get married. That's all I'm going to say. It's crazy. They get married in like a month,
Okay.
Ollie. It's insane. Anyway,
New concept.
new.
Love is Blind, but Star Wars.
Oh my God.
A Star Wars dating show.
Here's what would happen if I participated. I'm
Ew,
not
the
saying that I'm doing it.
Raylos would go freaking nutty.
They probably. And you know what would be great? Just to. I would probably have too much fun with it. Because they would come into the pod and be like, hello. And I'd be like, yes. Ready to talk to me, are you? And I would throw them off. They would learn nothing about me because I would just quote probably Yoda the entire time. But maybe someone would say, wow, this guy makes me laugh a lot, which was one of them. Like, he made me laugh so much. I was like, hell yeah, I'll marry him. It's like, whoa. I mean, a marriage is, there's more to it than just humor.
Is
but
there?
I
Pick
feel like
the
the
first
wisdom
funny
of,
person that you meet
and marry them.
and marry them.
Well, Yoda's pretty funny.
Can you imagine the person who like goes in to talk to Chewbacca?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I feel like, that would throw everyone.
Like,
I don't
I'm
know.
sorry, what did you say?
That sounded like a dying horse. That sounded nothing like Chewbacca. Luke, have we sold the show to you? I mean, is love blind?
I'd go for a Star Wars version. I'm not sure I'm going to watch the real world version, but I could see you know how on SNL occasionally they'll do these reality shows, but put a spin on it in a way that isn't the way the actual show is. So I would love an SNL sketch style.
Absolutely.
Star Wars Love is Blind. That'd be pretty good.
Can you imagine like what would be
yeah.
what Brent, here's the next poll that we need to see. What would the weirdest
Is love blind? Yes or no?
what would be like the weirdest
Yeah.
most unlikely couple?
Yeah. No, and maybe you just give each person a character that they need to embody, and you send them into the pods. It's like, who ends up together? Yoda and Chewbacca? Maz and Chewie?
See, here's the thing though, is
Han
that
and Leia?
Kylo
Yeah.
would just like disrupt the whole
Kill
thing.
everybody.
Well, he would just like I guess
Yeah.
it's not really fair with the Jedi because they're
Yeah.
just gonna get into everybody's heads. I don't know.
That's true, and we know that, a spoiler
it's like
alert
a
for
force. They have to have
Yeah.
a force-proof pod.
a force proof. Is it full of lead or something? Like a Superman can't, penetrate it?
Phrasing.
Penetrate. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Phrasing.
Phrasing. You're welcome. For all you polite folks out there, phrasing.
That's right.
So Luke, is it blind? I just gotta know because I didn't get any answers in this show.
Well, I don't have those for you either, so you're gonna have to keep searching. Maybe do some more research.
I'm pretty sure that Nick Lachey said it was blind.
That's another thing. It's hosted by Nick Lachey and his wife. And
perfect.
guys, I know we're off a Star Wars tangent here, but every time Nick Lachey introduces himself, he's known these people for a month, and And obviously, I'm Nick Lachey.
Obviously.
Obviously. You don't need to say that, Nick Lachey. We know you're Nick Lachey. You don't need to say obviously because it just makes you sound like a dick.
Maybe I should just be Vanessa Lachey and her husband.
Obviously, Vanessa Lachey.
And obviously her husband.
And obviously,
who
this
shall
is
remain unnamed. Who is
Sorry,
he?
Nick Lachey.
Who is that man?
I just, they were fantastic hosts, but every time he said it made me cringe. I was like, come on, 98 Degrees was like, I don't know, 1999? Come on, Nick. It's time to move on. You're hosting Love is Blind, okay?
I was going to make a joke,
Yeah.
but I think it was actually the Backstreet Boys who did Bye Bye
Wow.
Bye.
It's sad that
Is
I
that
know
right?
more about boy
that's
bands.
NSYNC.
Come
Oh,
on, Holly.
I don't know my boy band.
You know what? I'll just mute her now, guys. Because you know what? I'm sorry. Holly's muted now because she doesn't appreciate the 90s and the 2000s and all the epicness that was boy bands. Okay, Holly, you're unmuted again. Sorry.
Ugh. Okay,
You had to be
fine.
punished. You had to be punished. So remind me how I got on the Love is Blind kick.
Yeah, well,
That was the next poll, right? I mean, Brent is going to post a poll. Is love blind? And I need answers from the Flying Casual fam.
that is not the poll.
Okay.
The poll is who are the unlikely Star Wars couples?
Okay. That's a good poll, too, but I still need the Is Love Blind
my
poll.
God.
We'll
let Brent pick which one's
yeah,
the better one.
We'll
to
get
post.
answers. That's okay.
All right, so Brent said, thank you to all who... Oh, wait, I'm not done yet.
Yeah,
There's
phrasing.
more. Wow.
Phrasing.
Stop distracting
Yeah,
me.
you're welcome. it's yeah.
I just wanted to
quarantine.
point out that my favorite... I had a very hard time voting
Yeah.
in this poll, and I actually changed my vote like 4 times.
Wow.
But it went back and forth between the same two characters.
Well, I got the notifications. Yeah.
Sorry about it. So I said that I picked Ahsoka.
Yeah.
It will come as no surprise to anybody, especially not Nate.
Yeah.
Since he added this
Come on.
character. Nate put Chewbacca down, and
Good one.
I was like,
It's a great character.
a great
A
character.
loyal character.
So I immediately was like, Chewbacca.
Yeah.
No questions asked. And then I was like, ooh.
You know, I actually had feared had happened.
Oh, what?
I was afraid, you were going to add Nick Jonas as a character in Star Wars, and I was going to have to delete the option. I was really afraid. As much as you didn't listen to Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or 98 Degrees, you sure love the Jonas Brothers. So maybe the Backstreet Boys, the bad boys of the boy bands, maybe they were before your time. Is that fair?
What if there's like a Jedi boy band?
I mean, Ben Solo's leading it if that's the case.
It would be like,
Okay, yeah.
it would be
That's the poll.
age. Okay, so age aside, it would be like Ben Solo, Ezra Bridger, and who?
Young Anakin, Jake
I
Lloyd.
was, I was thinking, but
He's the Aaron Carter of the group.
I don't know
Yeah.
who's like one of.
Luke loved that one.
I don't know.
I think, no, this is a great concept. Okay, so we've got a few things going on in the group right now. Okay, we have the Is Love Blind poll. That one needs to happen. Then you have the best potential couples in Star Wars.
Unlikely.
Most
If
unlikely.
love is truly blind.
So if we get the poll that says, yes, love is blind, what are the most unlikely couples in Star Wars? So those are our 2 polls, right? And then the third thing that needs to happen, I need everyone posting who their 5-member band.
Is it going to be 5 or 3?
Let's say boy band. That's what 5. No, it's Holly. This is not the Jonas Brothers. Okay, go back to the late '90s,
There were
early
only
2000s. They were 5 people band. Okay, 98 Degrees doesn't count because they were like the side project of the boy band craves. 5 people. So let's get that going in the group. I want to see it. This is gonna be hysterical, and we're gonna if everyone allows it, we're gonna go through these groups, and it's gonna be so fun. And then we might even have to write songs specifically for these bands. I'm going all out with this idea.
I mean, it's happening.
I mean, can you imagine? Take the 5 experiences of characters in Star Wars and write a freaking song, a boy band song about it. With Anakin, it's like something about hating sand. So that's going to be in there.
100%.
I want it, not that way or something. I don't know. But it's coarse and something. Wow, everyone's like, wow, Michael, that's a surprisingly smooth voice you have there. I'm surprised you didn't start your own boy band back in 1999. Well, I was 12. So
I
that
mean,
explains that.
I don't know. Wasn't Justin Bieber like 12 when he started his whole boy
Oh,
band thing?
wow. Now I'm being compared to Justin Bieber. Thank you, Holly. That's great. Yeah, I guess I was I was too involved with other things, not, drugs and alcohol, but it was like, Little League Baseball and landscaping.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm just picturing it not being Ben Solo. I'm picturing it being Kylo Ren, and then he is like Axl Rose, and he
takes
just
off
like,
the mask.
and then he just gets pissed, and he like force pushes his drum set across the freaking stage, and he's like, "Oh, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Not enough people showed up to my show, so I'm not gonna play tonight.
Yeah, but then he just like force, chokes everyone in the crowd. That'd be crazy.
Bad.
Yeah, it would be an epic ending though, right? I mean,
Is
who
this a
needs
mu- are you
pyrotechnics
making-
and shit when you have, you can stab people's necks?
Is this a music video?
I mean, maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we'll shoot that too. Guys, the possibilities are endless. It's just, this is everything that you're saying, I'm loving. Everything. It's
And you
all
heard it here
happening.
first.
It's all, tell me another podcast who is putting together a Star Wars boy band and writing a freaking song about it. That's Flying Casual, because that's what we do here. Easy on the Maul Beck. Holly. Darth
Sorry.
Maul needs to be in there. He's got to be the bad boy. He's like
He's the emo.
No. AJ. You remember AJ, Luke? The bad boy
Oh,
of Backstreet
AJ.
Boys. Oh, he was a bad boy. So
What?
that's like the Maul,
You know so much more about these boy bands
Guys,
than I ever knew.
My sister was a huge fan, and like I was more into Stained and like grunge and Alice in Chains, but like we listened to so many boy bands. I probably know more lyrics to that music than anything. It's crazy. I don't know. That's what happens when your sister's driving you everywhere. You listen to a lot of Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Luke, did you have any similar experiences, or was that just me?
Oh no, I know what you're saying. I think there was some older sister influence there too.
Yeah. It happened, guys. It's real. It's real.
I object.
Yeah.
I have a rebuttal.
Okay.
Because I was the older sister, and I never did that to my brother.
Holly, I'm telling you right now, you were late to the party. Your
was.
older brother probably got a lot of Jonas
It
Brothers.
was my younger brothers.
Hearing you swoon and seeing all the posters on your wall and stuff, I'm sure that was.
Well,
it was. I know you were jamming in your Volkswagen. Just I'm hot, you're cold. I'm the one who had to tell you that was what's his face singing, not even Nick. So. We're gonna transition out of our boy band phase.
we're going to go back to the poll.
We're gonna go back to the poll. I think Luke had to address a baby issue, so we'll see him back here in a second. But back to the poll, Holly.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, I went back and forth between Chewie and Ahsoka, but ultimately I ended on Ahsoka. But
Yeah.
thank you, Nate, for adding Chewbacca, because that was a
awesome.
great choice.
That was a great
They all
choice.
were great options.
Because there's so many good characters, right?
I mean, yeah, they really are. And I
Yeah.
think that one of the fascinating things is seeing what characters people love the most and why
Yeah.
they love them.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm always so curious to know, because then I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, I like this character because X, Y, and Z. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that was not my experience
Yeah.
with that character. And I'm really glad that you shared that with me,
Yep.
because I never would have gotten that.
Absolutely.
I just think those conversations are really awesome.
Well, and other characters like Kanan. I mean, like 4 seasons of this epic show with this small group of people. You learn so much about them. We were watching Rebels the other day, and I was just like, look how freaking epic Kanan, and he doesn't even know it. Like, he's
Yeah.
just so humble about it. It's just awesome. So that even opens up more possibilities.
I know. It's so hard to choose, right?
Yep,
it really
absolutely.
is. And I think Paige commented on there, like, this is not fair.
It's not. It's as if these, top whatevers of Star Wars, they get harder and harder. It's like the movies were tough, like the soundtracks were tough. And you start talking about characters as like cheesy Pete's. Like, I think it's really, really selective and really difficult.
It is. So Brent said, thanks to all who responded to the poll and to the folks who have recently joined the Facebook page. We are growing in
Yes,
numbers.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Flying Casual family.
Absolutely.
Truly welcome. We're really excited to have everyone here. That was me, not Brent. But
That's right.
Brent echoed that.
That's right.
While the country continues to lose its mind,
Come on.
I hope everyone stays safe and remember what Han said.
That's right.
Keep your social distance, Chewie.
Yeah.
But don't look like you're trying to keep your social distance.
Yes.
I don't know. Fly casual.
It's
so on
perfect.
brand.
It's so perfect. Oh God, that was an epic email from Brent. I thank him so much for communicating that and putting the poll up. He's got such good ideas in there, and keeping it fun and just keeping the conversation going. I learned so much about all of you guys through Facebook. It's crazy.
It's really fun.
It's really fun. A nice space where all of us can gather from a distance, which is nice, especially in times of crisis. But I fully expect one day. This is crazy, Holly, but we were going on a walk, and we talked about flying casual celebration in Columbus. It may be a real possibility in the future.
Like, for real.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
We're open to a gathering.
We're in talks with some people, and mostly it's just you and me.
And Chewy.
He has an opinion as well, but we're talking about it, and who knows? It could be a real possibility.
We might have a fun event that we'll throw together.
Absolutely.
After the whole quarantining is over, when everyone's ready.
Well, the quarantining is going to continue, I assure you of that, especially with the Michelob Ultra.
Michelob.
That's how they say it in Maine, right?
Sure.
I think it is.
It is.
How many Michelobs did you drink in Maine?
0.
Okay.
I did not turn 21 until I moved to Ohio.
Oh, and that stopped you, I'm sure. Anyway, well, I'm glad we got that all out, because that needed. I mean, guys, I've been in this house a long time. I'm sure Luke's been watching the kid. There's a lot. We needed to get that out. Phrasing. But we are talking Star Wars, so no one can say that we're not. But we did. I didn't watch the latest episode of Clone Wars, but we did read episode 4. Episode 4.
Issue?
How could you read an episode?
Issue 4.
Issue 4.
Episode.
Of the Rise of Kylo Ren. And boy, was it okay.
Yeah.
It was okay.
It was fine.
Luke, I want to go to you, because I got a text from Luke today saying I read Rise of Kylo Ren. And that's all it said. And I was like, ooh, I got to open this up. What do you think? And she said, it was okay. And that's how I felt. It was okay. So what'd you really think, my friend?
Yeah, I got more of those incredible insights where that came from. I'll tell you what. I think the biggest revelation in that series was really in the first issue, which came out right before Rise of Skywalker, and it foreshadowed that Ben's redemption and that he wasn't. The light was always much stronger than he wanted to let on in him. And sort of from there, it was kind of a downer from there in terms of like revelations and learning about the character. I think some of the more interesting tidbits, I can't remember if we talked about this on the podcast, but I remember talking to you about it, Mike. There was one in like issue 3 maybe where Luke is talking to one of the other Padawans about how the Force is like open to everybody and everyone can tap into it. It's just some people have an easier start. Their like window into the Force is open wider at first. And
absolutely.
So little tidbits like that about how Luke trained the Padawans. That's plural.
I don't know if that's ever been clarified.
I feel like Padawan is a plural of itself, like deer or something.
Yeah.
But no, Padawans. I think that was some interesting stuff. The Knights of Ren to me still seem underdeveloped, even though we learned a lot more about them. In this comic book compared to what we knew about them before. There still seems like there's more there, and maybe we'll get some more stories out of them. But it was interesting to see that, and you kind of predicted this one, Mike, that I think he would essentially have to dethrone, and the good kill he would get to get into the Knights of Ren would be that the leader, the Ren, right? They called him.
Yeah.
And that the visuals of the comic were incredible and to look at our artwork, to see them battle and to see him, win his victory over the Ren and take his place as leader of the Knights of Ren.
Definitely.
My dog's trying to make an appearance on the podcast. Hello.
Oh, hi, puppy.
It's been my backrest for a while. Okay. So, I mean, there's some good stuff in there, but I still feel kind of underwhelmed by the Knights of Ren in general.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Holly?
This issue did not do it for me.
Yeah.
It felt, I know that there was a lot that happened in it, but ultimately I felt like it was very anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I feel like we all kind of guessed what was going to happen, and then it happened, and we were like, okay, so what? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it just also, like, I know, like, some people say, like, you don't control the dark side controls you. I've seen that floating around a lot.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't really feel like that works for me, and everyone's trying to say for this issue that, because, okay, so for me, I feel like I didn't understand exactly why Ben was trying to get in with the Knights of Ren to begin with.
Yeah.
So that was a question that I had the whole time, and it was not answered to me, and it just didn't really fit with his character from, like, in my opinion, from what we saw in the first issue.
Yep.
In the first issue and throughout these comics, even in this one, we see him trying to protect people. He doesn't want conflict. He doesn't want to hurt people. Yeah, he wants the answers that he wants, but he doesn't want anybody to be collateral damage.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there's this huge switch, and he lets the dark side take over. But
it was abrupt.
It was very abrupt, and I just feel like, I don't know, I didn't like the way that was portrayed.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, in this issue, he's out with the Knights of Ren, right? He's a member now. And they're trying to obtain this artifact. What was it? It wasn't the Wayfinder itself, was it? What was it? I don't remember what it was. These people had this thing that they wanted, and they just went and said, we're taking it. And they're like, absolutely not. And then Ty and Vo show up.
They were looking for the Mind Splinter.
The Mind Splinter. Okay, I'm not familiar with that artifact.
I'm not either. Somebody tell us what it is.
But these so his friends, his old friends show up. Toe and Vi, Vo and Ty show up to stop him, right? And one of the most interesting parts I thought was Ty and Ben's connection. Ty kept saying that, hey, we're connected, man. Like, I felt like that could have been discussed a little more, but I mean, once again, it's hard to do in 4 issues. This is now that I think about it, this is such a huge deal in Star Wars, like Ben Solo, like turning dark. We're going to learn about it in 4 issues?
Yeah, I don't know why it was scaled down so much.
It was you could really play this out for 25 issues, just like they did with Darth Vader. I feel like it was just an interesting character. Yeah.
The timing of the release is interesting. I feel like the whole 4 issues would have been more interesting if they all came out before the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And other than the one little panel really towards the end of this last one that showed the Emperor and his connection to Kylo.
Yeah.
If you could have kind of removed that, I feel like they could have released the whole series before Rise of Skywalker, and it would have been I think a cool precursor to the movie.
Yeah.
Building interest and kind of delving into the character more. I think they only released the first issue the day before the movie. I think it was because of sort of the revelation that he didn't destroy Luke's temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically gave away that there was a lot more good left in him than he wants everyone to think, like I was saying earlier. But I still think these comics don't reach that wide of an audience it's down to like the hardcore sweaties like we talk about.
Yeah.
That they could have probably released this whole little mini series ahead of time. I think it would have struck us more interesting than had we not already seen the movie.
Yeah, because I think I said this either last episode or maybe the episode before, like, why do we need this information now?
Yeah.
Like, why now? Because I have more questions now than I had before I read the comics.
Yeah, and I feel like if we're going to learn more about... I don't know how you can learn more about him turning, because like you said, at the beginning of this episode, when they're threatening these people who they're trying to take the artifact from, he says, well, you're not going to give it to me, I guess I'm going to kill you. And Ben says, no, can't do that. Like, he stops it. He says, no, you can't do that. And then at the end of it, he murders everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it was a matter of seconds.
And
he didn't want Ren to murder these people he doesn't know. And then he ends up killing some of his closest friends at the end of the issue. It's a matter of seconds.
Yeah. I know I said a while back, and Michael, this might have even been a Patreon exclusive, like a long time ago at the very beginning of Flying Casual. This might have even been Rebel Watch. I don't remember. I said that Kylo Ren is actually one of the most terrifying villains in all of Star Wars. You know, what we see happen with Anakin is very slow in the grand scheme of things. It takes him a while to get all the way turned to the dark side, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like with Ben Solo and the Kylo Ren story, it happens very quickly. It's like the snap of a finger. All of a sudden, like in the beginning of this issue, he wants to not kill anybody, and he doesn't want anybody to die for the sake of getting this information. There's another way, he says.
Yeah.
I have a better way to do this that doesn't involve anybody dying. He gets upset when these people are murdered. Yeah. But then it's like you snap your fingers, and all of a sudden he's turned to the dark side. It's just very strange to me.
And maybe
that progression.
Maybe they're trying to make that distinction then with Anakin, because with Anakin, you're right, it takes time. We see he had, even through the movies, he has all these experiences. He falls in love. Like there's some darkness in him to begin with, right? I mean, you see that in some of the things he does, and as best as Jake Lloyd could present, I think they did that. But he has all these experiences that really set him up. And you're right, like this happened very fast. Now, a lot of the Snoke stuff we don't know. We don't know how much manipulation was taking place there. However, like I said, just seconds before he snaps, he's trying to protect these people that he doesn't even know or care about. It just seems odd. It seems odd that he turned just like that, but the end was kind of lost on me. He tells Ren, and Luke, you probably have to help me out here. He says, Ren, you were right, I guess, but I didn't really understand what it was that he was saying, that he was so right about him and that his destiny is... I don't even know what he was saying his destiny was. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Did you follow that at all? Did it really
hit? You're kind of talking about how he, Ren says he could easily be like free and do what he wants and fully embrace the darkness because nobody expected anything of him. He kind of came from nowhere.
Yeah.
And where he says, you have the background of being, the grandson of Vader and the nephew to Luke and the son of Leia and the son of Han Solo. And there's all these expectations upon you because of your background and where you come from.
Yeah.
And throughout the series, it's leaned into a lot that's what kind of helped move him along to his dark path, that he felt the weight of expectations on him from his bloodline. And as he goes to, deal the final blow, he talks about how that the Ren has him wrong. He doesn't think he's special. He just knows everyone else does. And that somehow is freeing to him, and maybe he comes to that realization in the moment as he's doing that, and that's what kind of frees him up to embrace the darkness a little more, like Ren was able to. And that's why you felt that it was a sudden turn where he's finally willing to accept it more.
Yeah, but I don't know, this idea of the legacy that he hates so much and these expectations, what really is weird for me then, he has Vo there, he's ready to kill her. He's like, you're defenseless, like there's no Jedi left to train you, you're not a Jedi, you never will be. Why would you want to live? And he kills her.
I also have a question.
Yeah.
So the whole concept in the beginning of this comic was that he couldn't join the Knights of Ren until he had a good death.
Yeah.
Then ultimately he ends up killing 4 people throughout these comics. But there's only one who he calls a good death.
Yeah.
And that is Ren himself.
Yeah.
So it's not even him killing Jedi that are considered a good death. It's him killing this person who's in the position that he wants to be in. That's a good death.
It seems that way, yeah. But why does he tell Vo, why would you want to live? because you don't have anything else to live up to, like because you can't become a Jedi. To him, that I don't know, that wasn't good enough. So even if she could become a Jedi, would he have let her live? I guess I wasn't following it. It was very confusing for me. And I think we all suspected that him and the legacy of his family would cause him, issues and conflict, and question things. But I don't know. I would have liked to have seen that struggle a little more. I would have liked to seen more of the stuff with Snoke. Because I feel like that's the stuff that really turned him. The fact that he was willing, because what we do reveal in this episode when he does that mind trick, Snoke taught him that. Not mind trick, but he can read people's minds, right? That's something Snoke taught him. I feel like that manipulation was more important than anything that's happened, and that he was just a ticking time bomb, and he needed a place of power to see, and that's what set him off. But the real manipulation is definitely Snoke, and that's what I want to see more of. What would cause him to abandon his uncle like that and his family and embrace this person that he doesn't know? What is it that led him to that? I don't know.
Did you guys, yeah, Michael, those are all really good questions. I also thought when I was reading through the comics that there were a lot of parallels between him killing Vo, since you were talking about him killing Ty.
Ty, yeah.
On that kind of bridge area that they were in, those caves. They just keep going deeper into that cave, right? And it seems very similar to the scene with him and his father.
Yeah.
When he killed his father, they're in kind of the same situation. They're in this precarious place on a bridge. Anything could happen. You can't really go back. You can't really go forward because someone's standing in your way. You're kind of stuck where you are. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Well, and both of those people, too, his father and Ty, both believed they had seen he was reading Ben Solo's mind. His father raised him. They know he's good. They see it in him, yet he betrays them. It's crazy. It's very telling, but it just goes to show you up in that final moment, there was good in him. Ty even sensed it, but he still killed him. He snapped his neck, which is, I feel like that's very personal. That's almost like
Ren,
get out of my
Ren
head.
Actually
Ren did it?
Oh, it wasn't Ben.
Okay, I totally missed that then. I must have been reading too fast.
I missed that.
But it just, I don't know. Like, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy. But one of the best parts for me, I thought, was the end. Him bleeding the kyber crystal. It's something that we saw, to my knowledge, the first time in the second Darth Vader line, when you're like, how does Vader get that lightsaber crystal? How does it turn red? And you literally bleed this kyber crystal with the Force. It was really cool. When he turned it, you see blood on his hands. And all of the visions of his family and Chewie and Ty. That's another thing. Mm-hmm. Ty was in that vision as well. So I feel like he's very important, and there's a relationship there that we really need to delve into. I want to know what that was, because Ty talked about like they were brothers almost, like they had this connection, so much as it seems like the connection with him and Rey. But he sees that vision and all those people he loves.
Mm-hmm. But then at the end, you see the last vision that he has is Palpatine. And so that kind of, determines where he's going.
Oh, I mean, yes, Snoke saying this is your destiny, and like Palpatine, like the clone Palpatine talking to him, right?
But did he
or
even
not
know?
Talking to him, but
yeah, manipulating or ultimately talking to him. But did he even know? Yeah. He wouldn't even know that it was Palpatine, though, because I feel like later in the Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine's like, I was all of those voices that you heard. Yep. So, like, did he actually hear Palpatine?
Well, we're learning that. This is what I've heard, that this Snoke is a failed clone. Or no, that Palpatine himself was a failed clone or a rogue clone or something like that. But maybe even Snoke was a failed clone. I don't know. But what's telling is that in four corners of that last page, or maybe not the last page, but when he's going to kill was it Vo at the end that really set him off in that moment, or was it Ren? It was Ren. All of those people are connected to him. Snoke, his mother, Rey. That was crazy. She's there with oh God,
Unkar Plot.
Unkar Plot, and she says, "Do you feel that cold?" to him. And then you have Palpatine, clone Palpatine, in the bottom right corner. They're all sensing it. They're all sensing him turn. I thought that was cool. That was really cool. And you see that connection that we all now know exists there between him and Rey and all those characters. But, yeah, I think we all kind of came to the consensus it wasn't the best run we've ever read. For 4 issues, it was fun. It was cool. But like Luke said, that first issue was where it was at. That's what blew all of our minds and sent us into the Rise of Skywalker, just feeling a little different about Kylo Ren. But I'd still like to see a little more with his troubles with his uncle. That great familial, story that the Skywalker saga was like saga.
Where are you
Sound
from?
like George Lucas saga. That's what, to me, made the Skywalker saga great, and that's what I think that everyone wants to see about Ben. So I don't care about the Knights of Ren, I don't necessarily. I mean, it's interesting about Ty, but I'd rather see him talking to his freaking uncle about what went wrong. Come on, you talking to his dad, his mother. Let's see that stuff, and we never saw it.
I also we need to see what happened between Snoke and Luke.
That was actually mentioned, wasn't it, in this issue, or was it the prior one about?
It was. Vo said something to Ren about.
No, it was, he fought the Knights of Ren and sent them running, but there's something in the past couple issues about Luke and Ben, and I can't remember what it was, but it was mentioned.
I think in one of the earlier issues, it mentioned that Luke kind of did some of the damage to Snoke that you see.
Yep.
I think that was the first
his
one.
scars and things like that.
Definitely.
But that's why, because that's the first, no, it's the second one when Kylo goes and sees him, and then he's like, "Look what Luke did to you."
Yeah.
He's responsible for this. But I just I don't know. That was more intriguing to me than the rest of this. What?
Yeah.
What? How? Why?
There's so much more they could have done, and even with 4 issues, I think he could have done more. But overall, we learned a little more. It was interesting, but I really have higher hopes for more Kylo Ren Ben Solo content. I'd love to learn more in some novels and stuff.
What will we see?
We will see. I'm looking forward to it. Now, some of you, I'm sure, are aware now that The Rise of Skywalker is out on digital release on iTunes. I believe you can buy it. I got to ask someone here. I myself am going to buy the Blu-ray, so I'm going to hold off on the digital, but I got to ask Luke. Luke, have you made a purchase recently?
I did. I was so excited to see this alert pop up on my phone saying, "Hey, they're releasing it a few days earlier."
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out on Tuesday, the digital release, and I think Disney did a couple of things, I guess, because everyone's stuck at home.
Yeah.
They bumped the release up. They bumped the release of Frozen 2 on Disney Plus up 3 months.
That's the one I was asking about, actually.
I'm waiting for Mulan.
My wife and I were talking to my son a couple times this weekend. You want to watch Frozen 2? And he's like, "No, don't want to watch that." We're like, "Okay, we kind of want to watch it. You want to watch it?" So we haven't watched that, but
yeah,
I did go ahead and buy the digital release of Rise of Skywalker, and so now
let's go.
I have seen that movie 1.5 times because I went through half of it last night before I started falling asleep.
Oh man!
To wait for the kids to go to bed, put it on, and I definitely will say it's less. It feels less manic and less rushed.
Yeah.
Second viewing for sure. And one thing that really stuck out that I had to grab my phone and make a note of is you don't get this the first time through, and because you have to know kind of where it goes and how it ends. But the last line that Leia speaks to Rey when Rey's leaving to go to Pisana with Chewie, Poe, Finn, and the gang to start looking for the trail of the Wayfinder. Leia says to Rey, "Never be afraid of who you are." That's the very last thing she says to her before she leaves. And I was like, that's a kind of a brilliant line, because we are told later by Luke that Leia knew she was a Palpatine, and for whatever reason, she wasn't willing to come out and tell her at that point.
Yeah.
Still wanted her to find out some other way, I guess, but at the same time was trying to tell her, don't be afraid of it. It won't define you, I guess, maybe, you know. At least that's where I took that line, as them kind of foreshadowing what was to come, but trying to give Rey some confidence to deal with it. She doesn't all that well until Luke's intervention, but I thought it was a really interesting line to hear once you've already seen the movie.
It's somewhat the message, too, that people were giving Ben Solo, too, right? I mean, that's what Ty was telling him. You know who you are. Be who you are. I think even Ren was saying that at one point. Be who you are. And so, yeah, no, it is a great story for Rey to reject evil that is inherently part of her. I get it. That's awesome. But man, do I sure love it, you know, a little more, you know, when she's nobody and she becomes something great. But I get it. It's a great story either way you look at it. But yeah, it's too bad, you know, she just at the end there kind of realizes that. But yeah, Leia, why didn't we say anything sooner?
Luke, was there anything else that you noticed this second viewing that you didn't remember?
Well, he has the beauty of going back and starting it where he stopped, too. So that's why,
that's
why it seems less
The
manic.
thing is, I think, based off my first viewing, I think the heart and soul of this movie is everything that takes place on the Death Star wreckage.
Absolutely. God.
Because
Could make me cry.
we always knew, I think every fan knew, that the Emperor was going to be defeated in some way in this movie. So that there was no suspense there.
Yeah.
To me, the suspense for fans was how is Kylo or Ben going to end up, you know, at the end of this? What was his final choice going to be? What was his relationship to Rey going to be when it was all said and done? And that really all hinges upon everything that takes place on the Death Star wreckage. And I think that's by far the best part of the movie. And I put this movie so much lower in my rankings when we rank them, because I think outside of that, it doesn't do a lot for me.
Yeah.
But that stuff I think is really great. So I'm really looking forward to revisiting that. I did watch the scenes. I was starting to get a little Twilighty, though. I did see the scene where Kylo is revealing to Rey her heritage when they're having that Force Skype session around Kijimi. In that little force fight, and I guess I was getting a little Twilighty, but second time around, I still didn't like that exchange a ton. So I need to watch that one a few more times. But really, the stuff on the Death Star, Leia's intervention, that I think is where it's all at. Mike's tearjerker moment when Han shows up.
God.
I think that's by far the best section of the movie, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing that again.
Absolutely. Now, when we're talking about Twilight, we are talking about the literal production of Twilight the movie, right? Where he says, "Say it, say it." And what's the bad lip reading version? He says, "Say it," and what does she call him?
I don't remember.
God, it's
I
so
don't remember.
funny. Bag of fish, or well, I don't know what she says, but it's such a great mocking of that movie, which I also love. Twilight. We have a podcast, you know,
We do.
Coming up about that.
We sure do.
Luke, get ready to talk about more about that.
Flying casual on Edward's Cullen's back.
On his back.
That's what she does. He takes her up into the
I'd
trees.
probably ride him.
Wow.
Up a tree, you know, if I was down for that, but
Also, I said Edwards Cullen's.
Yeah.
That was really wrong.
that's the 1 liter of Malbec
Yeah.
that Holly's had tonight. But
that
yeah,
was, yes.
you're right. Now that I totally get that, Luke. It was a little Twilighty. Now that you mention it, because that's when he's telling her to, you know what you are, right? A Palpatine. and she's no. And it's like Kristen Stewart saying no.
Sorry, I meant I was getting a little foggy because I was falling asleep.
Oh,
But we see what Michael's
but
thinking.
you can see the connection, though, right? It's the same thing. Now, I was going to ask him if it was him just falling asleep, but now that he mentioned that's kind of the same thing that's happening, right? Am I crazy?
No, you're right.
I want it that way.
Not being a vampire, but being a Palpatine.
Yes. Nailed it. I should have just went out on the episode like that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to your one-man play at Celebration that you're getting a stage for, where you do all 5 characters of this hypothetical Star Wars boy band, and you just switch personas throughout.
Don't write me off, because that may happen, especially if by some lucky chance, Flying Casual got on the podcasting stage in Anaheim. Boy, they would be in for a treat.
Luke, would you Skype into that one?
Yeah, actually, we would find a way to do that. That's when we would have Luke attached to an iPad running around on a robot. We would set the iPad in that chair.
We'll just have to bring our Roomba with us.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was great.
Here's our co-host, Luke. Luke, no,
co-host.
don't go near the stairs.
Oh, the Malbec, it speaketh. Anything else, guys? Any new Star Wars thoughts or Twilight thoughts? We can get those out, too. We'll just keep recording. Nothing. It's great radio when there's silence. I super love it. Just kidding. I love these guys. Guys, stay safe out there. Times are tough. I really hope you're stocked on the old bath tissue. It's going to be tough out there without it. But, help your neighbors. We're all in this together. So, be respectful of others. Only grab what you need. There's no need to, go super overboard to a point where no one else, can be as prepared. So be nice to one another. Keep your distance, wash your hands, all that good stuff.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Phrasing, but yeah, totally do that. And go check us out on Facebook. Join that group. There's a lot of people that are quarantined right now that are having a good time on the group. They're listening to Flying Casual. They're talking on the group. They're creating polls. Go check that out. It's a lot of fun in there. And like Holly said, it is growing and it's awesome. And we love that group. Yeah. You remembered.
One more housekeeping.
Yes,
item.
Darth.
Next Saturday will be the book club. I know that we had postponed it. But it will be next Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Let's go.
You West Coasters.
Okay.
So if you are a Patreon donor, please let us know, and
Absolutely.
You are more than welcome to join the conversation. If not, we'll have that posted for you guys after the conversation is had.
Yeah.
But now you all have an extension for reading Leia.
That's right.
So yeah, next Saturday is when we're going to have that conversation.
And I do want to tell the patrons, there will be no stream this time. Michael's setup here can only take so much, so there will not be a stream. So if you want to participate, you're going to have to get in the Skype call if you want to. Otherwise, you'll just have to wait for the episode to be released. But you do have the opportunity to get in there. And like Holly said, that's this coming Saturday. So be prepared for that. And you Jedi Masters out there, we will be conducting our Casual Council installment number 3. The 28th of March, which is a Saturday. So we're sticking to what we said. The last Saturday of every month will be our Casual Council sessions. So that I've posted that in the Patreon page. So check that announcement out. Let us know if you're going to make it. And always, you can hit us up on email. You can leave us a voicemail. The voicemails are really fun. I miss the voicemails. But we get it. Everyone's busy. Not everyone wants to hear their own voice. I get it. It can be weird. I cringe every time I hear my own. But let us know however you can what you're thinking about Star Wars. If that's the group, if that's the email, it's the voicemail. You want to hit us up on Instagram or Twitter, that's fine too. We are still posting there. Holly has had some really great stories on Instagram lately. Not so flattering of myself always, but you know what? For a good laugh, I will sacrifice myself. So keep that up, Holly. Those are terrific. But if we don't have anything else, guys, I think I'm going to take us out. Guys, stay indoors, hide your kids, hide your wives, hide your Star Wars material. And just stay safe out there. Luke, thanks for joining us. Holly, lovely as always. And folks, we'll see you next week.